So I've heard about the P-3 visa. What is it? And if you could enlighten us a little more about it.
Sure, no problem at all, Vijaya. So the P-3 visa is a non-immigrant dual intent visa. The duration of this visa is generally that it's given in 1-year increments up to 12 years. And it's for individuals who are engaged in what's called a unique cultural exchange with the public as a whole. So where would this visa be used? Well, we've done P3s, and what we like about P3s also is that it's flexible insofar as it lends itself to allowing for groups. So for example, in the Indian community, we've done P3s for performing artists in the past. So these could be a group of folks who are doing Indian dance, and they're coming to the United States to engage in, let's say, a program where they're going across the country and performing at various temples or at various cultural events. So that's where it would be used. That's one example. We also did a P3 for a group of Indian chefs who were doing a huge conclave out in Pennsylvania, where it was a group of hereditary chefs, because obviously in the Indian community there were certain dietary restrictions, and those hereditary chefs were uniquely qualified to handle those dietary restrictions. And it's also used for individuals who are, let's say, artists, maybe fine artists. And I also remember doing a case for an Indian individual who created marionettes. Puppet shows, and he brought those puppet shows to the United States from India, and went actually across the country and did performances, which were unique cultural exchanges insofar as he was doing Indian stories about particular places in India. And he did that with
Kathputlis, they're called.
Yeah, with various marionettes. So it was kind of an interesting case, because we had not done a case like that before, but certainly it was recognized as a unique cultural exchange, and one that was being done with the public as a whole, because he was doing these various cultural events. So the nice thing, as I mentioned before, about the P3 is that it's a dual intent classification, and it is a petition-based
So
process.
Dual intent meaning, what are the dual intents?
Yeah, so dual intent means that the individual can actually be in the United States on a P3 and initiate the green card process without there being a conflict in their underlying intent, where we as immigration lawyers would not, as U.S. immigration lawyers, would not want to initiate, let's say, a green card process when the individual has a visitor visa, because that's not a dual intent classification. Because if we set up a conflict in their underlying intent, then they're going to have problems traveling back and forth to the United States, because they could get stopped at the border. And at the border, they could say, well, if you're coming in on a visitor's visa, but you have a green card process going, can you please explain how you want to be a visitor and you want to be pursuing the green card at the same time? Because there's this conflict in the underlying intent. So being a P3 puts the individual in a really good position to be able to be doing the green card process.
Nice. Wow. Thank you, David. That is really great to understand the P3, and especially with so much of artistic exchange going on between India and the US. Great to know about it. So if you are in a bind on any aspect of US or Canadian immigration, or have been procrastinating getting things in order, the NPZ Law Group is at hand to help you. Call them today at 201-670-0006 or log on to